everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of Stripped Back with Daisy Delight, where I am doing my very, very best to try and unpack the Sydney burlesque scene, one rhinestone at a time. And today I have with me the lovely, gorgeous, fantastic Kitty Allure. How are you going, Kitty?
I'm good. Hello. Hi. I'm so good. I'm very honored to be here today.
I'm
Yeah.
honored to have you as my first guest, honestly. Like when I think about, people who've done such incredible things in the Sydney scene, you're immediately one of the first that comes to mind. Like I've been stalking your Instagram this morning, like trying to get up a little dossier before I do the interview. And oh my gosh, I've got here, and tell me if I've missed anything as well, but winner of Burlesque Idol 2020, winner of The Apprentice 2020, co-producer of Fresh Meat, Stripping in the Name of, Sirens of Vice, and the Bad Girls Club, and also you're an instructor at Sydney Vintage Dance.
Yeah, yeah. There's one more show, Burlesque Fight Club, but that's kind of on the outs. But yeah, that was one of our earlier shows. I think that was like our second Bad Girl production. It's a little improv comp that we did 2 rounds of.
God damn.
Um, but
That's
apart from that, yeah, everything else spot on.
okay. Cool. I'm getting my journalism hat on. I feel very dignified knowing that. Wait, Burlesque Fight Club. That sounds like a lot of fun. What, so you would just get like people to improvise burlesque and
Yeah, so it's kind of it was in 3 rounds. We had 4 competitors and they would come out, they'd do their own regular act and then they'd have an improv act, 2 people on stage at once,
yeah.
dancing at the same time. And after each round, we would do a live poll. So you'd scan a QR code and then you could
Wow.
vote on the internet. And based on the results, it would come back for a grand final improv number where they didn't know the song and they just have to go out there
Oh
and
my
do the
God.
thing. The very first one was we had a tie between Sugar Derrima and Peg Petite. And I
Ooh.
think that was probably one of the most iconic things I've ever seen. If you were there, if you know, you know, like it was just Peg Petite, Sugar Derrima on the bar.
Oh my God.
That's all I'll say.
What was the song? What was the song?
Dirty by Christina
Oh
Aguilera.
my, yeah, okay. Say
Of
no more. That was
iconic.
iconic. All right. Well, I have a list of my little questions to try and get to know all of my guests. So I think if you're ready, do you want to dive straight on into it?
Yeah, let's jump in.
All right. So first question, what was your first ever exposure to burlesque?
Ooh. Um, I think it was when I was 19, my very good friend wanted to do burlesque, and I was very supportive of that. And there was some sort of like variety kind of put your name in a hat and you get to go on stage. And it was in this weird pub in St. Mary's. And she went up and did a burlesque number. People went up and like sang songs, and she went up and did this burlesque number. And I
Oh
was
yeah.
just like, oh, she's perfect. And it took me a long time to get to that point, but that was my very first exposure. I think, yeah, probably 19, I think.
Yeah, wow. Oh my God. So what, it was just like a normal open mic night and she was just like, I'm gonna go on stage and take my clothes off.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that so much.
It was great.
The confidence of it all. So did you get into doing classes soon after that?
No, I think I think I tried like 6 years later, and I did a few
Mhm.
classes with Sheena at Sydney Vintage, and I was too scared. I couldn't, I was like, oh, my body doesn't move this way. And I'd look at myself and I felt very just not comfortable and I wasn't happy. And then it took me
Yeah.
another like 2 years of kind of self-growth. And then I came back and I was ready. I was
Yeah.
ready for it.
Wow. That's wild to
Yeah.
think of, like, because I mean, like, I don't know, you're one of the people that I like look up to quite a lot in the scene. So it's just like to even imagine you being like, oh, I don't know how to move my body. It's just wild to me. I'm just like, wait, no, but she's Kitty Allure. Like,
I remember having to, I had to do like a grind and I was like, no, my hips don't move like that. And then apparently they did though. I was just too scared to do it at the time.
the hips are just like, we're working our way up to it. Give us some time. Give us some time. We'll get there.
Give us 2 years, we'll get there.
2 years. I like that though. I like how you've been like around the scene for a while and like dedicated and, really studying before you've gone out into your own. I think that that's really cool that you've just been like training hard and stuff. That's really
Yeah.
admirable, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a journey, but it's been really good. It's been a great time. It's a
Yeah.
great journey. Yeah.
Awesome. Wait, so you were in classes with Sheena. Were you ever in any troops and what was that like?
Yeah, I did a bunch of troops. I started doing classes, and then 6 months later, I did a big reveal.
Mm.
Um, and this is probably very silly of me. I was very naive. We were discussing costumes, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll wear a G-string, and we'll go down to pasties." And I was like, "What? What do you mean? Like, we have to take off our clothes?" But I ended up pushing myself to do it,
Yeah.
and I did a lot of troops. I think I was about 2 years of troops, and I was just constantly any opportunity to get on a stage, I was just in love with it. I wanted to do it all.
Hell
But
yeah.
yeah, I was very naive at the beginning.
It's like, wait, what? We're stripping in
Yeah, what do you mean G-strings? I don't know.
this?
I still have that costume, yeah. It
Oh,
still lives in one of my boxes.
are you a bit of a costume hoarder? Do you like to keep them?
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to someone recently about doing like a market stall or something, and I'm like, no, that's no. They
Yeah.
they belong to me. Oh, like I'll live in this. It'll take over my apartment, but I can't let go. I think I am a bit of a hoarder when it comes to sparkly things.
I mean, and that's fair enough because I mean, like you've worked on those costumes, you have memories attached to them and all the performances that you've done in them, like it only makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, there's some questionable troop ones. I won't lie. Like there's some
Questionable.
questionable ones in there.
Wait, what's the
But
most
for the most
questionable
part,
thing you've had to wear for a troop?
oh, one of my very early ones, I had to wear a sheer bodysuit with just
Okay.
pasties underneath, but because it was fully sheer, we also had to wear like this tiny nude, air quote, nude G-string underneath. So it was basically just being fully naked on stage.
Okay.
And that's probably the most questionable thing I've had to wear. But I still have it. It still sits in one of my boxes, but that's probably, yeah, that was a hard one. That was a rough one for me at the time.
Oh god. Was it like one of those ones that you get from like the lingerie shop and it's like all of the like the fishnetty sort of like
It was just no, it was just mesh, but it was
uh
like backleft. So it was high neck.
oh my
It
god.
only came to like the side of my boobs, and then it was like sucked in on the belly button and just a little bit of straps around the hips. It was a very like, um, yeah, it was an interesting. They were custom made, I think, back
They
in
were
the day.
they were custom made.
Yeah, I think so. I'm
Wow.
jogging my memory here, but I think they were custom made.
Okay. So, out of all the troops that you've done, did you have a favorite troop as a
As
student
a
before
student,
you've
as a student, probably Jessica Rabbit.
oh,
Um, that was when I kind of really felt I came into a lot of Kitty Allure esque times at that point, helped me develop a character. Um, but yeah, probably Jessica Rabbit. And it was my kind of foray into teaching from that. I taught that troupe. That was my very first troupe that I taught, as well as that. Yeah.
whoa, that's awesome. God, I think
Yeah.
that it all makes sense though, because like you are very much a modern day Jessica Rabbit, I feel. So like it's a lot of that energy there. So I can see that the reason why you would want to do a troop like that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was just red sparkles. Like who doesn't want that? That
Oh,
was just I was very attracted to the sparkles, but yeah, the character is quite an inspiration to us all.
hell yeah. All right, so that actually bleeds very well into my next question. So, how did you end up getting your burlesque name when you were like, okay, I'm ready, I'm gonna hit the stage by myself? How did you get the name, Kitty Allure?
I had the name before I even did burlesque classes.
Whoa.
Kitty, yeah, Kitty was Kitty is very similar to my real name.
Uh,
And I for a period of my life, in my early 20s and maybe even my teens, I went by Kitty and I just wanted to be Kitty. And then I started trying to do, I say trying, I wasn't really hard trying, but I tried to get into pinup a little bit. And somehow I
Mm.
don't know how, but I made up the name Kitty Allure. I never went anywhere with pinup, but um, I just liked it. I have no interesting story about where Allure came from. But it's definitely, it became a name that was quite aspirational in terms of like where I wanted to be character wise and my stage persona and everything.
Mm.
But yeah, no big story. It's just very similar to my real name, and allure is a fun word.
Allure is a really fun word to say. It's allure. It feels nice coming off the tongue.
It does, yeah, it rolls off really nicely.
No, absolutely. Wait, so that goes into my very next question, which is I feel like I already know this, but for the sake of the podcast, what was your first ever solo act?
My first ever solo act was one that I still do now. It's my pink
Mm.
act to Nasty Naughty Boy.
Mm.
I did that back in 2019,
Whoa.
and it's grown a lot since then. I've worked with it. I worked with Ginger Fox really early on and grew the act. It's evolved, but yeah,
Damn.
it was my very first foray.
Ginger Fox. Holy wow, that's incredible. Did you get like a lot of really amazing insights from working with someone like that?
Yeah, she helped me so much. She just came in so prepared. She knew I think she'd seen the actor. I'd sent her videos, and so she
Yeah.
knew what needed to be tweaked. And like, I worked with her just before I did Burlesque Idol, um, and it just kind of helped get it competition ready and everything. So yeah, and
Yeah.
Ginger's just so lovely. So I was a little baby back then. I was like, oh my God, it's Ginger Fox.
Yeah.
But she's so lovely and nurturing. So it was great to work with her.
That's amazing. So wow, so you used that then for Burlesque Idol? Was that your act?
Yeah. So I did Idol maybe 6 months later. And yeah, that was my act for Idol. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So how would you say that act has grown since the very first inception of it, the very first time you did it, to what you do now? Because I remember, goodness gracious, I was a stage kitty for your show up in Newcastle recently, and you had me stand on the side and pull your pull the thing
Yes.
up, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was just staring
That
at you the
can
entire time, like, oh my God, don't fuck it up. She's so pretty. It's like, ah. But yeah. It was
um
mesmerizing, like, watching you float across the stage, so, like, how have you evolved it?
I think when I first like because I'm wearing a Catherine Delish and those
Mm.
things can very easily swallow you. And I think in the very first renditions, I used to get stuck under my feet a lot because I wasn't swishing it around, and
Mm.
it just wasn't something that I'd practiced so much. So it's getting more comfortable having such a big costume piece that you have to throw around, and just probably just being more comfortable with the character. At first, I went to it. I wanted it to be really showgirly and cheeky. That was kind of what Kitty Allure was when she first started.
Yeah,
But now she's a little bit more sultry, I think. She's got a little bit darker
yeah,
through the COVID time. But I think it's just, yeah, the way my character's evolved and just doing it in different places and learning to use the costume properly was really, really a big evolution of that act. But yeah, it's still one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite acts. It probably is probably my favorite act just because
aw,
it's very dear to me. And
aw,
yeah, yeah.
lovely. Yeah, it's so true, like, those big robes, like, I have one, as well, not a Catherine Delish, nothing even close to that, I'm not at that level, from the website, but, yeah, I remember, like, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm gonna use this for an act, it's gonna be, like, the best thing ever," and I tried, like, dancing in it, and it really can swallow you up, like, that can just, like it can wear you, so, like, it's yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
I'd,
it
like,
takes
seen so many professionals use it before, and it's like, "Oh, no, they're wearing this, it's easy," but it's not easy at all, so, yeah, props.
yeah, it's literally just practicing it and knowing where it is. I also started wearing higher shoes and that felt like that helped me. I was taller, so it wasn't under my feet anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But It's just practice. Yeah, it's an intense prop, but yeah, practice.
Okay, this is one of my favorite questions. So, what would you say has been your biggest onstage fail, if any?
I've been very fortunate, and I haven't got any wood near me, so I can't knock on wood, but I've
Okay.
been very fortunate to not have had any major, I'm looking for wood near me now, not to have any major fails on stage. Um, like I've done the regular fallen as I've tried to step on stage, not fallen all the way on the floor. Thankfully, I've caught myself.
Yeah.
I've got stuck in my costume many a time. Um, I've messed up my reveals sometimes. Just all the classic showgirl fails. But I've been very fortunate to not have a very big fail just yet. Although I don't know if you ever have seen it. I have this bunny act, and the very first time I did it, my skirt is so tight that I can't step onto the stage. And I was like, I can do it. I can get up there. And I just went for a step and I just fell into into the front row.
No!
I was like, shit, I can't get up. I can't get up. I did get on stage in the end. But then the whole time I was like, I can't believe I just fell getting on. I fell on someone. They just pushed me straight back up. Like they were ready. I just bounced off them. But that was that was a pretty big fail. But everyone's very lovely and say they don't see those things, but I know. I've seen the video.
You're just like, I replay it every night before I go to sleep. I am very aware of this moment.
Yeah, I know it exists. It's there.
Oh, I think I remember that bunny act. That was also when I was stage kiddieing up in Newcastle, and I remember you being like, "Can you stand like near me so I don't fall?" I'm like, "Okay."
You have first-hand experience of watching me try to step up a stair in that skirt.
It is an impressive skirt though. Like, was it like tailor made for you? It like fits like a glove.
Yeah, the lovely Sugar Derma
Oh,
made that one to fit my butt and my legs. So
oh, God.
it very perfectly.
Literally the perfect fit. Do you have a signature move when you're on stage that could be like a dance move or like a look or like a
I've been told it's a head roll. Like I
yeah.
do a slow head roll. Not that people can see me, but I did do a half-ass attempt at showing Daisy just now. Um, Probably a head roll and maybe just even eye contact. I think
Mm.
that's what I like to just stare at people until it's uncomfortable
Yeah, yeah.
for them. I'm having a great time, but they get nervous. But yeah, probably a head roll and eye contact would be my signature moves.
Do you ever like do people start like breaking eye contact with you when you stare at them? Do they like try and look away or
Yeah, they do. They do. I
yeah.
did I do a show in Penrith under Bad Girls Club, and we had one last week, and there was someone there on their phone while I was dancing, and I just walked up and I just stared at them until they locked their phone. I pointed at their phone, and I think they thought I wanted them to like kiss my hand, and I'm like, no, like it's your phone. And then I just stared at them for the rest of the night anytime I walked past. So, um, it's a roving gig. Like you're gonna get people walking past you. I think they were watching a sport game. I'm like, we're not here for sports, babe.
How why would you be watching sports when you've got like gorgeous showgirls in front of you? That's wild to me.
Yeah. That was
Mm.
funny. Probably cringing on the inside, but I'm like, ha 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 ha. I'm doing like a cackle on the inside because it just brings me a little bit of joy.
The chaotic Elmo meme in the fire is what I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Just the
Yes.
right. So, Kitty Allure, who would you say is your biggest influence as a performer?
This one's very hard.
Mm.
Um, I think everyone is very, I don't know, this one's a hard question.
Yeah.
So I don't try to really emulate a lot of people, but I think watching people and getting inspired by them, like I think everyone can influence people, but yeah, that one's a hard one.
No.
Sorry, not a great answer.
No, you're so fair. Maybe I'll expand it. Like, what are like? Do you have like any touchstones or like any inspirational like either movies or songs that like really help you get into the character of Kitty Allure? Is there anything that you sort of go to?
Probably I'm very influenced by music.
Mm.
When I find new songs that I like, I tend to just hyperfixate on that song. And I can kind of create the costume idea is created and like the actors created in my head. So I'm probably most influenced by music and finding the song. Um, and that usually just comes from anywhere. Like I'll just be listening to something and it'll pop up on Spotify. Um, but yeah, probably that. Different types of costuming as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Things that are, because I feel like whenever I think of you, I usually think of, as you said before, like it's always the very sultry, slow. I feel like you're an expert and like really like just drawing the audience in just by existing, pretty much. Yeah. Um, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, no, whenever I think of like, I'll like hear a song and I'll be like, oh, okay, that's like a very Kitty coded song. Like I can like,
I feel like, especially now that I do teaching and I have troops, everything, people are like, oh, it's a very Kitty song. Like we know this is this is coming.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely drawn to very powerful, dramatic songs.
Mm,
Um, maybe with like a little bit of a creepy vibe is probably where I'm going at the moment. But yeah,
yeah.
if it's got some sort of jump scare, I like that. I'm veering towards that at the moment.
Yeah. Got like borderline horror going on at the moment. I mean, I'm speaking from experience, having been in your teddy bear troupe at the last big reveal where we ripped all of their heads off at the same time.
Yeah, that was the idea for that whole act was ripping off a teddy bear's head.
I
That's where
love
it
it.
started. So,
I love it.
had to test the waters with everyone. I'm like, how creepy do you want to get? And I think you all hit the brief spot on. Like you were ready to go to Creep Town, which was good. We're
We
all
were
on the
on
same
that.
level.
We were on the creep train. We were ready to depart the station, and we were just like, "Yep,
Yeah.
let's go." Choo choo.
We're going. We're all going to the same place.
Yeah. I'll never forget doing that act and then Dior coming backstage and just looking at me and being all like, "Kitty needs therapy."
I know. Someone even messaged, I shared a story the next day. I can't remember who it was, and they were like, Kitty, are you okay?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm working it out on stage through my troops.
It's art,
I thought it was
okay?
funny. I just thought it was funny art. Like it's
Yeah.
I don't think I'm unwell.
No.
It was just yeah, people.
Well, I mean, look, if you're unwell, then I'm unwell because I was fucking obsessed with that act. So, like, yeah, in it
Oh, that's
together.
good.
All right.
Unwell altogether.
We're all together in this. Okay, so this also might be a bit of a loaded question, but do you have any advice for new performers? So anybody who's like thinking, oh, maybe I want to get into the scene, not sure how. Any ideas?
Yeah. Definitely have advice. I think going to shows is really important and just seeing what it's like. And if you're feeling ready to do it, doing a little class. Um, you can meet a lot of people that sometimes it can be quite confronting to join a burlesque class by yourself. I know that that's how I felt when I started, but
Mm,
just trying classes, trying different instructors, just finding someone that you mesh with,
mm,
and just experiencing it, I think is the best way to do it. And you'll know, I think you'll know pretty quickly if this is something that you want to mess about in.
mm,
Or if you just, even if you just want to go and watch, you don't have to do it. Just go and
yeah,
watch. It's fun. Just to support shows and support the art. But yeah, I think just try it. Have a
mm.
class, talk to people, listen to podcasts
Yeah.
about it. um, but yeah, it's just taking that leap and taking that first step. Come in, the water's nice. Like it's
Yeah.
fun. It's sparkly. It's all cool. And there's some really beautiful people in this industry. So
Mm.
everyone's very welcoming. We'll it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, genuinely. Like I couldn't agree more with that. I think that one of the biggest things that I like that I always say to people about the burlesque scene, the thing that I love the most is the community aspect of it. Like I can go to a show and not technically go with anyone, but like everyone's so kind. We're all friends. It's like I can just go in and be like, oh, hi, hi, hi. Like everyone's just so lovely, all different, races, genders, body types, ages. Everyone's welcome. It's just, yeah, it's a little sparkly utopia, I feel. So it's nice.
It is. Yeah. Everyone is, yeah, I love that. Sparkly utopia.
Yeah. Coined it.
Great way to say it. Yeah.
All right. Goodness gracious. Okay, so we are heading towards the tail end of the podcast. So thank you so much for being a gorgeous first guest and bearing with me while I get the ropes of all of this. So my a tradition that I'm going to have on this podcast is that we always we promote others before we promote ourselves. So do you want to spotlight anybody else in the scene right now who is currently doing something cool, or they have a show coming up, or who do you want to spotlight?
Who do I want to spotlight? I'm trying to think of where I'm going next. I know that Ivana DeLune has a very big show coming up later in August, on the 24th at the Spiegel tent, I think. So I'm really looking forward to going to that. Yeah, that's what's coming to my brain at the moment of what's coming up. I feel like there's lots going on at the moment, especially coming into Fringe. There's so many pieces going into Fringe. So I'm excited to see what we all create. I keep seeing new shows pop up and I can't even think of them now. My brain's farting. But yeah, I see so much going up at the moment and it all looks like a really cool, exciting Fringe season. So
yeah,
everyone.
everyone. Just everyone.
Highlight everybody.
No, it is really exciting. Like I keep getting the ads too, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna be like watching things every night. Like, what am I gonna do?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, oh, good thing I've got some spare time in September.
Yeah.
I'll be ready to experience a few things. So yeah, there's so much going on and I can't for the life of me brain it right now. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, speaking of Fringe Festival, do you have anything coming up, Kitty Allure?
Oh, Kitty Allure does, yes. The Bad Girls Club is bringing our very fun show, Vice, the Seven Deadly Sirens, to Sydney Fringe in the first week. Just super exciting. We are in the South Tent in Darling Quarter from the 4th to the 8th of September. And it's going to be really cool. It's a show based on the Seven Deadly Sins. And a little someone named Daisy Delight will be in the show as well. Oh, she's acting coy now.
I am extremely hyped to get working on that troupe, by the way. It's like feathers. Oh my gosh, I'm down.
Yes, it's a very, I'm excited to get into the troupe again as well. But yeah, we've got a star-studded cast. We're super excited to bring everyone back on stage and bring it to Sydney Fringe.
Oh yeah, amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I mean, I nearly called you me for a second there. That's how new I am to this. I was like, thank you for coming on the show, Daisy Delight. And I'm like, wait, it's Kitty. My God. But thank you, Kitty, for being on my show.
Thank you. I'll be Daisy Delight. That's cool. No, thank you so much for having me and asking me to be part of it. And to be the first guest. I'm blessed. This is cool. Very exciting.
Oh man, oh, it's awesome. Well, yes, everybody, I'm sure all of my listeners would already be following Kitty Allure, but if you're not, what's your Instagram handle so they can all give you a follow immediately?
Immediately. My Instagram is Kitty_Allure.
Awesome. And it's Bad Girls as well. Oh, they'd be able to find all of the links to that in your bio, right?
Yeah, my bio has every single show that I that I work on, so that's easy to find. That's too many to list. But yeah, I would appreciate the follows. Thank you.
Follow Kitty Allure on Instagram and then go to her bio and then follow everything that you can click in her bio, follow that as well, please. That is my official PSA to my listeners. At the moment, will probably be my mum and maybe just my mum, to be honest, at the moment. I don't know. We'll find out.
She's your biggest fan. That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, Daisy's mum.
Anyways, thank you so much, Kitty. Have an amazing rest of your day.
You too. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.